Okay, we're going to start today's lesson, which is on exploring the Americas. What we're going to be looking at today, and our target really, is I can identify countries that explored the Americas and the general locations that they discovered. So to get started, here's a little warm-up question. How did Europeans find out about the Americas in the first place? Well, when you think about it, it was the one person who we give a lot of credit to in American history, which is Christopher Columbus. He's one of the most important people when it comes to this. Again, we've talked about other people may have discovered it prior to this time period, but Columbus's missions are what directly lead to colonization, which is one of the reasons he gets so much credit for the Americas. Let's talk about Columbus a little bit more here. We talked about his first voyage and what happened. Now let's get into his whole experience here in coming to the Americas, all of his experiences. In 1492, he arrived in the New World, and he brought back goods and knowledge of the inhabitants. He brought back a message to the King and Queen of Spain, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. It said, "They had no iron or steel weapons. Should your majesties command it, all the inhabitants could be made slaves." Interesting perspective. Well, 1493, he goes back again, and he starts the first colony in the Americas, which is known as Hispaniola, which is on the island that is modern-day Haiti. He takes 4 trips in all between 1492 and 1504. And I'll show them to you here in a few minutes. Now, I didn't hit the target yet, and I have to hit the target. So the point of this one is that, Super Wilson, he doesn't really care for Columbus, so he wants to go back in a time machine. He does like the time machine. There we go. He's going to go knock him down. Yeah, knock him out of the Americas. Down to Antarctica. He can hang out with the penguins. Okay, out of the randomness, back to the lesson here. Columbus took 4 voyages. The first one goes as such. A little bit of island hopping in the Caribbean. His second voyage is going to be a little bit different, but still pretty similar. More islands, still in the Caribbean. His third voyage now is going to change a little bit again. This time he's actually going to land on mainland South America. In his fourth voyage, it's as if this time around he's trying to get through to see if he can make it around the world, and he can't because he gets stuck in Central America. So, Columbus's 4 voyages, none of them take him to modern-day North America, or I should say modern-day America like the United States, but they take him into Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Now, who else explores for Spain? We know about Columbus, he's a big deal, but Spain ends up really dominating in this situation. It's kind of interesting because modern day we don't think of Spain as being this world power, but if you go back into the 1500s, they were the world power. And really one of the big reasons for that was because of their exploration. So exploration leads to domination. Juan Ponce de Leon, one very important explorer from 1508 to 1513, or when his explorations occur. He was the first European to arrive in Florida, and he was in search of the Fountain of Youth. Well, he obviously didn't find that, at least not that we know of. Maybe he's still living somewhere. But what he did find was a way to make a whole lot of money for himself. He became the governor of Puerto Rico, a very powerful position, very prestigious. Remember, these people, they take big risks, but there are great rewards. Juan Ponce de Leon, he got to discover one of those and realize it for sure. Juan Ponce de Leon, he starts off here. And why can he start off here? That's right, because Columbus explored down here. Makes it so that these Spanish explorers don't have to travel quite as far. But he did discover mainland Florida, and Puerto Rico was his home, basically, though. Ferdinand Magellan, he led the first expedition to circumnavigate the world. That means go all the way around it. He left with 5 ships and 250 men in 1519 and returned, well, kind of, I'll get to that in a minute, in 1522 with 1 ship and only 18 men. Yikes. That's less than 10% of his men made it back. Pretty crazy when you look at it. And as I mentioned, he didn't really return back because he died. He died in a battle. I believe it was near the Philippines. And what ends up happening is he makes Europe aware of how vast the oceans actually are. Because 3 years, and obviously they didn't travel nonstop. They were stopping at places, regathering supplies and other things. But it still is just a very, very vast world, far larger than they previously realized. So here's Magellan's mission here. He went south of South America. He found a little shortcut there, which is now known as the Strait of Magellan. Went all the way up, and we know the world's round, so he's going to end up on this side here. Comes through Philippines, down through Indonesia, and this is where I'm showing him dying. in this range, and then returns all the way back down around the southern tip of Africa and back home. So that is Magellan's mission. What is so big about the whole Spanish conquest? Well, they become such a great world power. Their navy was world renowned. They were the best shipping naval country in the world at the time. Their navy was known as the Spanish Armada. Completely dominates the seas until they have an unfortunate loss against the English when they get outsmarted, really. And other countries begin to explore and colonize because they see how much success Spain is having. Next, England in the Americas, keeping up with the competition here. What was the motivation for England? You know, we talked about Columbus saw these people, said we can enslave them, we can make an empire. Well, here was what a messenger provided back to England. If England possesses these places in America, Her Majesty will have good harbors, plenty of excellent trees for masts being for ships, good timber to build ships, all things needed for a royal navy, and all for no price. Well, how about it? What if we could get all the raw materials for our military today for free? Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, that's what England was looking at here. They said, look, in America, they have all these trees, they have all this, everything. Resources are plentiful. That's a great place for us. Oh yeah, they also had this one other little motivation too. We shall stop the Spanish king from flowing over all the face of America. Competition is very important. They do not want their rivals to get too strong, so we need to cut them down to size here a little bit. A famous English explorer, John Cabot, 1497 to 1501. He explored the east coast of North America and modern-day Canada. And Henry Hudson, 1610 to 1611. He explored the Hudson Bay and the Hudson River, so these Hudson things are named after him. He actually sailed for both the Netherlands and England. One thing to understand about these people, they're not all about sailing for their home country. You know, we already spoke about Columbus, and he's actually Italian, sailing for Spain. So you get the whole idea here. This is more about individual success than it is about patriotism. Henry Hudson, though, he actually dies in the Hudson Bay. His men mutinied, and they cast him off to sea in the Hudson. Not real nice. So, voyages. John Cabot, leaving from England. You can see where he's exploring here. Really northeastern U.S. into Canada. There will be some exploration from England that goes into modern-day North America, or modern-day America. Not a tremendous amount. I didn't really show it as much here, but there will be some coming up soon. Then we have Henry Hudson, who is going to be exploring in modern-day Canada here. Portugal. The one thing that I want to prove about Portugal today is that Portugal kind of had the opportunity to get involved in this, and they used to be a much more powerful country than we think of them as being in the 20th century. But they kind of missed out on this opportunity. Maybe it's because they didn't have an interest or care, whatever it is. They left America alone, and that really kind of hurt them. Pedro Alvarez Cabral in 1500 reached Brazil on his way around Africa, but he just kept going, and nobody really went back and did a whole lot with it. Now, Portugal will later on come back, but not in the real soon, not in the immediate future. And that's one thing about Portugal. They just kind of left these things go, and they weren't as concerned with trying to expand their empire tremendously. And that's one thing that kind of limits their power. So here's Pedro Alvarez Cabral, kind of hits the tip of Brazil, then continues on. And that's really the only place they explore in the Americas. France, then. Well, everybody else is doing it, so I got to too, right? That's their little peer pressure here. They're going to get involved in the Americas because they recognize that, again, that they need to because of their competition. Giovanni de Verrazzano, wow, that was terrible. Miss Lemon would be very upset with me. Giovanni de Verrazzano, 1524, is a French explorer. Now, I say Miss Lemon. In reality, is he French? Not at all. This is more Italian here. But, again, remember, it's not about allegiance to your home country. It's about allegiance to the highest payer. It's more like a business decision. He explored the east coast of North America and discovered the modern-day New York Harbor. Samuel de Champlain, 1603 to 1615, explored the St. Lawrence River Valley, and most importantly, established a trading post at Quebec. That's what's going to be a big deal here. So, Verrazzano, here's his exploration, modern-day America into New York. And this is actually, that same location is really where England will explore as well. So they did explore the America area as well too. Nonetheless, though, back to France. So France, there's Verrazzano and de Champlain. He's a little bit further north here, and he's going to establish a trading post at Quebec, which is right around there. So that's where France is going here. The end result is this. We're going to see these three major powers colonizing in North America, and they're going to start really gaining quite a bit of power here. Spain is going to primarily focus on the southern areas. It's going to be Florida, down into modern day Mexico, down into modern day South America. They by far have the largest empire. England's going to be in the northeastern United States. We'll see them settling places Europe and maybe even a little bit further south in towards Virginia. That'll come soon. And then France is going to be primarily in Canada in the Great Lakes. Those are the locations that these three are going to be coming to. What happens when they all start coming here? Are they all going to get along? Well, the reality is no, they're not. And we're going to see that this becomes a major issue, whether it be the French and Indian War, whether it be the American Revolution, whether it be the Mexican-American War, which kind of has a Spanish undertone to it. There are going to be a lot of issues here that arise because soon they're not going to be separate from one another. Soon they're going to continue to grow and kind of overtake each other's land, and that's when this will become a problem. That's the end here of this portion of the lesson. There also are some questions that are mental sweat on the worksheet in this folder. Please make sure you check up on them as well to make sure you got this fully and also take the quiz as well. Great job.